So I wanted to do a video on my 2018 Fuji Track fixed gear bike, which I think is actually a pretty underappreciated fixed gear bike. And I got it in 2018, so I've had it for 4 years. I've done a few things to it. As you can see, the handlebar is a flat bar. It's supposed to be, or it comes as a drop bar. I put a more relaxed and shorter stem on it, which I got from my local bike co-op for very cheap, so that was kind of cool. I have, at least at the time of this video, I had this cool retro Fuji saddle on it that came off of my brother's old 90s Fuji mountain bike, so that's kind of had a retro look to it. I also changed out the tires. Now, I'm mostly a bike commuter, so the original tires were pretty unforgiving in terms of some of the roads that I ride on, so upgrading to these, what are they called, Ritchie Alpines. They're 700 by 30, which is just a little bit extra cushion and without sacrificing speed, which is nice. I kept this funny little chain guard on here because, as I said, I'm usually commuting, and if I'm wearing work clothes, I don't really want my pants to get into the chain at all. And I did sub out the pedals because the original pedals were pretty much garbage, at least for my riding style, and I put on these stolen Thermalites. Now, the bike is not currently in production. I'm hoping it's just because of pandemic and supply chain stuff, and maybe it'll come back because it is a really great bike, but you might be able to find one used somewhere, so it's worth checking out. Just wanted to show some of the original components from the bike that I ended up changing. Saddle. I only just changed this recently as I'm starting to use this bike to commute again. So this is a oval concept saddle that came with it, and it's lightweight and sleek, but there's really nothing in the way of padding here, so that wasn't super comfortable. The pedals that came with it are these one-sided and kind of small. I don't know, it's hard to tell, maybe proportion-wise, but they just felt very small under my feet, and so I didn't like those very much. And they also came with these toe clips, which I had never used before. And I tried them for maybe a week or two, and I just couldn't get used to them. It's very tight in the toe, actually, and there's no way to like adjust it this way. I have the strap. So anyway, that came off, and this was the original stem and handlebar, drop bar. Very, very long stem. I forget the dimensions of it, but this just made it very, very aggressive. So I changed that out for a shorter stem. I rode this handlebar and this stem for probably the first 2 years I had the bike, and then I kind of got sick of it. And so I went to the bullhorn. Can't really get the whole thing in the camera here. There it is. Especially, just wanted to have that downward kind of aggressive option, but I still find myself not using that very often, and then just being on top is not super wide. So I took this off recently and put on a flat bar. One last thing I'll say is that I switched out the tires. The original tires are these Helios 700 by 25. They're a small 25, I'd say. They're very fast. They're very slick. So that's cool, but again, not super forgiving if you're commuting and you're riding on some rougher terrain. So I switched those out for some Ritchie tires that are 700 by 30C. So my original intention was to get on the bike and do a little bit of a review as I'm riding it, but it was just too noisy. So you get the voiceover instead. So basically, this is actually part of my commute, and you can see this is actually not a bad part of my commute, but you can still see that the road is at times inconsistent. There's some cracks, there's some bumps, there's some traffic, there's some times when the shoulder isn't particularly generous, and so this is the kind of thing that led me to make some changes on this bike. So the handlebars are one of the biggest things that I changed, and I just went back to a flat bar after trying out the bullhorns, trying out the drop bar. I use a flat bar on one of my other main bikes, and I have no complaints in terms of that. So it was a natural choice. And I will say this, one of the things about the flat bar on the fixed gear and having especially a wide bar is it just feels a lot more comfortable, a lot more stable, and I actually find myself going faster with the wide bar than I did with a drop bar or with the bullhorn. So that's kind of cool. And the stem, just bringing the stem up and having that shorter stem really helped a lot, so that was nice too. Now some people might be thinking, why didn't I get the Fuji Feather? It seems like a nice bike. It's probably a little bit lighter, has a retro style to it, but it doesn't have a threadless headset and it doesn't have water bottle mounts. And honestly, it wasn't worth the style of the Feather to pay more money and not be able to swap out handlebars, especially for someone as finicky with handlebars as me.
Pray for a new age. Pray for information. I can hope see, even if I don't believe. Pray for a new state. Pray for communication. I can hope see, even if I don't believe. Oh, and I believe.